Hey, I'm John Cannell. Today on Preppy Kitchen, we're making some easy, amazing monster cookies. So let's get started. First off, set your oven to 350 so it's nice and hot. And now we're gonna add 1.5 cups or 180 grams of all-purpose flour into a large bowl. These cookies are packed with peanut butter chocolate amazingness and chewy oats. They come together in no time, so your oven should be nice and hot right away. To give our cookies some balance, I want half a teaspoon of salt, and to puff things up, 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda. All right, our scale's done. Grab a whisk and mix it up. And now we're gonna add in the secret ingredient, 1 cup of old-fashioned oats. The story I read, which I am not 100% sure is true, was that this guy wanted to make cookies, but he ran out of flour. So he used oats and a bunch of eggs and everything else and made this giant batch of cookie dough, which is why it was called monster cookies, because it was monstrously large. But as we know, for an oat cookie, you still want to have some flour to hold things together. The monster cookie has evolved over time, and now it is a delicious oaty peanut butter chocolate chip cookie with M&Ms inside, in case you haven't had one before. My oats are in and distributed. Let's set this aside, and now grab your stand mixer or another large bowl and a hand mixer. In the bowl of my stand mixer, fitted with a paddle attachment, I'm adding 1 cup or 226 grams of unsalted room temperature butter. And room temperature means that I can press down with a little bit of effort and leave a nice indent, and the butter will bend nicely as well. Nothing's breaking. 2 sticks. I also want 1 cup or 250 grams of a creamy peanut butter. And one note for you here is, this is like a regular peanut butter, meaning it's not a stir together peanut butter. If you want to use a stir together peanut butter, that's fine. Just really stir it well. You don't want to get the oily part. You don't want to get the really hard part at the bottom. It should be a nice consistency. And this peanut butter, as you probably know, has sugar and salt added to it. So if you use a natural peanut butter with nothing added to it, I would add an extra 1/3 teaspoon of salt probably, just to even things out. Sugar you can add more of as well, but not necessary. If you love delicious things, but you haven't subbed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. There's new recipes every single week, and there's always something delicious on the horizon. We're gonna cream these two together until they are nice and smooth, and yes, you should scrape the bowl down. We want them really well combined. So work up to medium speed and let your mixer do the work. All right, this is nice and well mixed. However, if you look carefully, there are little nodules of butter hanging out here and there. That's okay. The sugar we're gonna add will agitate those and break them up. This is happening because the butter is a little bit more cold and dense than the peanut butter. Scrape the bowl down, just in case there's any butter lurking at the very bottom. When I was a kid, my favorite snack to have, well, there are 2. Cream cheese tortillas, which is a tortilla that you heat up and you put a big log of cream cheese in the middle and make a little burrito out of it. Delicious. And also toast with butter and peanut butter on top, which this is delicious. I'm gonna take my scale back one more time and just add my sugars in, measuring with a scale so I can save myself some dishes. To my delicious mixture of butter and peanut butter, I'm adding 3/4 cup of light brown sugar. That is 165 grams. And I always crumble the brown sugar in because it's just bound to be lumps inside. Brown sugar is delicious and has wonderful notes of caramel, but the trade-offs are lumps that don't mix very well, and the moisture in the sugar causes cookies to spread more. So if you ever see a cookie with brown sugar, chances are there's also white granulated sugar in as well, and that's to control the spread. Brown sugar for taste, white sugar for structure. I also want 2/3 cup or 133 grams of white granulated sugar, so these cookies don't spread too much. 133 grams. Back to the mixer, we're gonna beat this on medium speed for about 3 minutes or until it's light and fluffy. Should you scrape the bowl down? I would. Mix away. Thank you, mixer, for doing so much work while I stood by and did nothing. This looks really fluffy and creamy. In fact, that's the color we started off at, and this is it now. So we went up several shades and pumped it full of air. I'm cracking 2 large eggs into a small bowl, just to make sure there's no shells. I'm gonna add my eggs in one at a time while mixing on medium. Whoa, I'll try to. Let the first one incorporate, then add the second, and then we will scrape the bowl down. It's so nice and satisfying. When you make cookies or cake and you have just butter and sugar, adding the eggs in usually will break the mixture, so it becomes kind of curdled. But when you have peanut butter or pumpkin added, it really helps things stay together. So this is still a beautiful moussey consistency. All right. Back to medium, I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of vanilla for a little dash of flavor. My kids love these cookies because they have peanut butter and chocolate, which they're obsessed with, oats, which really give you a nice kind of chew. It makes the cookie more satisfying. And then they're covered in M&Ms, so you have these beautiful little pops of color and gooey chocolate on the inside, crunchy candy shells. It's a wonderful play of textures. Decrease your mixture to its lowest setting, and we're gonna gradually add our flour mixture in. Mix it up until it's almost combined. That's like maybe 5 seconds of mixing on low. And you should have a somewhat shaggy dough where there's little bits of butter and peanut butter on the bottom, little streaks of flour on top, and that's okay because we still have to add our mix-ins, and you don't want to overmix this dough and take away from the tender crumb of the cookie. Time to add half a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. We also want 1 cup of candy-coated chocolate pieces, also known as M&Ms. This is my favorite sound, by the way. So good. Takes me back to my childhood. 1 cup. If you wanted to, you could use regular M&Ms or mini M&Ms. Any kind of candy-coated chocolate piece is fine. As long as it goes in the bowl. All right, we're gonna stir this for maybe 2 rotations on low. 1, 2. And then finish it off by hand. This smells amazing. I love peanut butter so much. Our mixer's done. And we're just going to stir this together and scrape the bottom down so it's really well mixed without overmixing. Just like that, we're ready to scoop. Now onto a lined baking sheet, I'm adding 2 tablespoon-sized dollops of cookie dough. You could bake these cookies right now at room temperature, but I like to chill mine for at least 20 minutes. It gives them a little bit more of a substantial oomph. They don't spread out as much. And if you want, you can chill the dough for up to 72 hours. Make some cookies while you have downtime and then bake them off when people are hungry. By the way, these cookies will keep at room temperature in a sealed container for 2 days, or you can freeze them for up to 2 months. These look delicious, but you know you have to gussy them up with a few chocolate chips and a few M&Ms dotted on top. So they'll be nice and beautiful. Into the fridge to chill and then into the oven. You don't have to bake all these cookies at once. You can freeze the balls of cookie dough, just pop them onto the baking sheet, freeze them solid, and then transfer them to a freezer bag. Then you can bake them from frozen. You'll probably want to add maybe 2 more minutes because they're extra cold inside. Once chilled, if you want to do that, your cookies are ready to go into the oven, 350 for 10 to 12 minutes, or until the edges are golden and the centers are almost set. In you go. Cooled enough to touch, these cookies are smelling so good. Crunchy, chewy, tender, melt in your mouth, gooey chocolate amazingness with a dash of peanut butter. I hope you get a chance to make this recipe, and if you like this video, check out my cookie playlist.